Our next guest
Tell me
helped
about it.
me with my Christmas presents last year.
I know, and mine too.
And yours too.
So good.
So Adam Grant wrote a book called Hidden Potential. And what he talks about in it is getting out of your comfort zone, failing purposefully, getting better through failures. And the greatest example, I'm going to talk to him about it when we get him on in a minute, was that he said he looked at polyglots who could speak so many languages, and he just assumed they were brilliant. And as he went to talk to them, he started to realize the only thing that separated them from the rest of us is they purposefully went out of their way to make mistakes. And there was one guy that probably picked up 20 different languages, and his rule was when he went to a new country, he had to make 200 mistakes a day. 200 mistakes a day that he learned from. And within a week or two, he was picking up the language. It's a brilliant way, especially for your children who may be concerned about failing, about getting outside of their comfort zone, or you or me or any of us who are afraid to get out of our comfort zone. When you have that sort of mindset, then it is amazing how you unlock your hidden potential. And that's what Adam talked about in the book. So anyway, the aforementioned Adam Grant has a guest essay in the New York Times and offers this advice to Americans.
Yeah, here's the advice. It's pretty simple. If you're sure how the next 4 years are going to play out, I promise you're wrong. And Adam joins us now. He's an organizational psychologist at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania.
So Adam, did I get that story right, or are you a different Adam Grant?
You got it right, Joe, although I don't think you can get away with 200 mistakes on air a day.
Well, I do somehow. Somehow I do, and we keep on keeping on.
We challenge you.
So this seems like great advice in your essay today, and it sort of reminds me of the DBT suggestion.
Yeah.
Don't suffer twice. Don't suffer about the future ahead of time, and then most of the time, what you were suffering about doesn't come to fruition. Don't suffer twice. That appears to be what you're saying here.
Yeah, I think that's well put. I think we are constantly overconfident about our ability to predict future events, and we fail to learn the lesson over and over again that we're wrong.
This is so good.
I mean, there are so many examples of this, but I think back to the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, where the Allied powers all celebrated peace and didn't realize that the national humiliation that Germany faced was sowing the seeds of a World War II. And I just wonder how many times we have to go through experiences like that before we finally realize, look, just because we think the outcome is good today doesn't mean it's going to lead to what we want tomorrow, and vice versa.
Professor Grant, it's so great to see you. I have my Adam Grant desk calendar ready for 2025, something to think about. So suffice to say, we are very happy to see your face in a moment like this. So let's talk about some other advice you give and observations you make in this column. You say pain and sorrow are never permanent. They evolve over time. They ideally help us make sense, find meaning, and fuel change, which is to say it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be shocked. It's okay to be frustrated this week, probably if you're a Democrat in some kind of despair. The question is, what do you do with that going forward?
Yeah, Willie, I think the whole point of unpleasant emotions is that they're supposed to teach us lessons, right? The same way that when you touch a hot stove, it hurts so that you pay attention and you make changes. I think a lot of people are feeling what we might call election dejection. And the point of that is to prompt analysis, which we're seeing a lot of right now of what went wrong for Democrats. I think many people are feeling morally outraged, and the purpose of that is to get you to fight against the status quo and try to drive change. I think many people are worried about what's going to come next, and in psychology, worrying is defined as attempted problem solving, which I think the world needs a lot of right now.
So, Adam, Willie just took basically what I was going to ask you. Pain and sorrow are never permanent, you're right. But I want to ask you about pain and sorrow being never permanent. When you walk around the Upper West Side in New York City, you are confronted by people literally who will stop you and start crying about what happened a week ago on Election Day. And their problem, it would seem to me, is that their pain and their sorrow, they're going to be constantly reminded of it on television each and every day as the president-elect of the United States proceeds through the next 4 years. What do you do about the permanence of that particular kind of pain?
I don't think it's easy, Mike, but I would say it's worth remembering that things could always be worse. So let's go back to 2020. How many Democrats cheered when Joe Biden won that election? I think with the benefit of hindsight, many Democrats would feel we would have been better off if Trump had won in 2020, now knowing that he won in 2024. There would have been no lie about election fraud. There would have been no January 6th insurrection. We would have probably more moderates and qualified people surrounding him. And I don't want to say that imagining how things could be worse is uplifting or energizing for most people, but it does make us grateful for what we have.
Yeah, and maybe I shouldn't say that. But also, don't sit in front of the TV or on your phone all
Doom
day
scrolling is
and doom
the
scroll.
worst.
Right out, go outside, walk
I'm a doom
around,
scroller.
look up at the sun. Like,
Okay.
get a life outside
I'm
of
gonna
politics.
take some-
Adam, yes.
There's a good takeaway
yes,
here.
No?
The
yes.
new piece is online for the New York Times. Organizational psychologist at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, Adam Grant. Once again, thank you very much. And thanks for coming on the show this morning. And